Hello and welcome. This is Jessica with Skilled Womanhood. Today I'm going to be showing you how to saw with various sawing implements more firewood. So I've already shown you when I'm running a chainsaw, I try to make those cuts the exact size for my wood stove, but that does not always happen, and sometimes you find wood from various places and the pieces are long, hence like these. So when they're too long, I do not like getting my chainsaw out, because I've already taught you that if I'm running my chainsaw and that chain is going super fast, it's flicking these little pieces all over the place. Chainsaw works best when there's a lot of weight from the wood on the ground and the wood is not moving around. This wood moves around a lot, and so I'm going to show you how I tend to each different type of piece, the different tools I use. So I'll show you what I got going on over here. As always, personal protection is important, but I have found that sometimes it feels more dangerous to have eyeglasses on that steam up, or when you can't hear if someone's calling to you. Sometimes I feel with gloves on, I can't feel what I'm doing. I feel a little awkward. So I assess each project and I try to see how little personal protective equipment I can actually use. So all I'm going to be using today is, with my left hand, I'm going to be having an animal hide glove on. I have other gloves, but I prefer to work with hide whenever I'm dealing with sawing or kind of blades like that, because hide is tougher. It can really tear through more of the plastic, nylon type things, but hide is the best. So I just like to have this hand covered. This hand is usually operating the tool. This is the one that is in danger zone. So that's all I have. I'm not going to use any glasses, no ear, nothing. But I still have my heavier gear on when I'm working, my pants, kind of canvas stuff. Think of a saw, you probably think of something like a bow saw. This is a really great tool. I've actually cut down a pretty large tree with a bow saw, both a bow saw and an axe and wedges, and I was able to take a pretty good sized tree down. So this is a really great tool to saw through this size. I also have my Japanese saw. I really prefer this when I'm doing any kind of arbor work. It's incredibly sharp, it's really lightweight, it's maneuverable, and it cuts on the pull. Okay, so it's a pull saw. Pull, pull. So you pull and then you relax, pull, relax. I never hesitate to use my skill saw. This is super handy because it's battery run. I don't have to run cords, and it cuts through the pieces much more quickly, because again, these pieces are hard to hold down. They're moving around a lot. When you get the saw going, it starts binding and it's just a big mess. So I prefer to use this when I can. And when I am cutting up smaller pieces, I like to use my pruners. Okay? So everything is about getting it bite sizes that I can fit into my wood stove. Now you'll notice I have my wheelbarrow situated right here because I want everything I cut to drop in here. I don't want to have to bend over, like chop it, bend over, put it in the wheelbarrow. I only have so much energy, and I'm not willing to waste any movements, especially if I know I'm going to be doing this for a long time. So now I'm getting to the end where I don't know if I can. Oh, okay, I got that. Anything that I can use loppers with, I will. Okay. I want you to see what I'm doing up close when I'm using a saw, because I'm creating what's called a kerf. A kerf is a little groove in the wood that allows the saw to stay stable rather than moving around. Okay, so I'm going to show you with my hand because my glove is kind of clunky. But you can see I'm going to set my hand, my thumb, in this position, And I'm going to allow the blade to kind of run along. You definitely do this when you are working with a standard hand saw with wood, like carpentry wood. So I kind of keep my hand like this. I don't want to cut anything. But sometimes I steady my thumb and I help create the curve so the blade doesn't move around. But you have to go very slow and be very careful to not cut yourself. Then once you get the kerf, which is this line here, then the blade is more steady, it's stable, and it's not going to move around. And then I can get going on it. Make sure you're watching your hands. Like, I have to be careful that I'm not going to hit my hand on this. Okay, there's a lot to be paying attention to when you're dealing with blades. But remember to relax. Just, you're guiding it. You don't want to be like white knuckling this. Just relax, because you got a lot of work to do. When I'm doing the bow saw, I am able to pull and push. But on the Japanese pull, I cannot. I'm only pulling. And I try to come at from different angles. See what I can do like that. I'm gonna come on me. Okay, there it is. I can start in between this crib area, which is a nice support, but eventually this is going to start binding. The wood is going to start collapsing on itself, and it won't allow my saw to pass through, so I'm going to have to move it out to an open edge so it falls properly, and I'll show you what I mean by that. No, okay, there's my bind. Okay, I'm going to move it out here. Now I need it to just be able to fall. There you go. That's it. This is extremely sharp, so be very, very careful with this. Okay, so I'm going to be pulling, starting my curve, pull. And you can even hear when you're getting through the wood and just coming to the end. Okay, there we go. I recommend getting a lot of practice with your saw cutting 2x4s than this, because this is a little gangly. Okay, you have to have a better handle on it. A better knowledge, working knowledge of this. Okay, so I'm just going to find little spots, start it up. You want the blade running before you actually hit the wood. Make sure you're always watching where this hand is. Okay, now I have some pine here. As you know, I like working with a little bit of pine. And if you're using a lot of pine in your wood stove, you're going to have a really bad problem with creosote, because this is so pitchy, resinous, sappy, and it's very flammable. So I only use a little bit whenever I start a fire, because it's highly flammable and it helps get the fire going. Now you can see I have to look for hardware. Hardware in wood is anything like staples, screws, nails. This is actually so pocked with staples, I'm not going to use it. I don't really want to, actually it looks like I could run one through here. Because you're going to dull your blade, you could bung up your blade. And that'll work. I'm actually going to save this for stakes in my garden. So anything that looks usable, use it, but some of this stuff is not. So I'm going to keep these shorter because I want to take my hatchet to them and be able to split them. And the shorter the wood, right, the easier it would be for me to split. Okay, I can still use my saw with one of these. It's more awkward, but, or my circular saw. Because you have to do 2 cuts usually. I'm kind of lifting it up and situating it, as you can see. Using it kind of like a sawhorse. Okay, so I recommend whenever you are out and about and you find scrap wood, pick it up. You definitely don't want plywood though. That's got glue and chemicals and stuff, and you don't want that in your ashes, especially if you use your ashes for, I don't know, if you use it in the gardens, if you use it to make potassium hydroxide lye, if you're using it in like a human manure compost system, you don't want to have all those residual chemicals and things. Yeah, but always just look wherever you go, see if there's any old scrap wood. Sometimes you can find behind industrial buildings like a lot of busted up pallets, and those work really great because you can dismantle those and chop them up. They might have nails in them, but those will burn out in the ashes, and then you can pick through it in time. Okay, I think that's everything. But again, I don't really want you using the circular saw in this manner until I've shown you the safest way to use it with cutting, like building something with smaller pieces of wood, like that are straight and consistent, like they've got a nice symmetry. Because when you're dealing with bucking a piece of wood that is oddball branch and stuff, there's a lot of potential for that blade to hit something that you're not aware of and to kick back at you, and I don't want that to happen. So remember, this is all about learning to work super smart, and the smarter you are, the safer you will be. I know that there's always this thought of like safety first, but I'd say like be smart first and then safety will follow. Because some people I think are so fearful and so not smart about what they do, and they enshrine safety as the end all of life. And we know that life is not safe, especially the more you're out in the reality of it. There's so many things that can go wrong. Life is very deadly, but dying is not the worst thing. Living in fear is the worst thing, and that's what we're trying to overcome here. All right, till next time, this is Jessica with Skilled Womanhood. Get smart, get sane, get skills, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.